Let me ask you this: did you remember Bray Wyatt's promo?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, gentlemen. The last week on the show, we discussed Bray Wyatt's return. Right? We
Hmm.
talked
Mm-hmm.
about his buzz. We talked about his mystique. We talked about his presentation. We all pretty much came to an agreement that we thought it was pretty cool that Bray Wyatt is now back in the space where he feel like he can create. Right? He has led us down these rabbit holes as we keep mentioning. Further than we probably originally intended, but guess what? We're here now. But
Mm-hmm.
something interesting has kind of happened. It seems as if that they're continuing with these backstage shenanigans in this rabbit hole. Every time we see backstage shenanigans or something going on, there seems to be elements of Bray Wyatt everywhere.
Hmm.
First and foremost, Brian H., what did you think of his Bray Wyatt's promo? Let me just set the table for you, good brother.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate
Um,
that.
we turn to SmackDown. They make the announcement after Extreme Rules that Bray Wyatt will show up on SmackDown and explains himself. Bray Wyatt comes out there very casual. It seems as if he's not in gimmick. He comes out with a lantern, but he seems to come out very emotional. And he begins to, I guess, what we call in business, cut a promo to express how
Mm-hmm.
he feels. And he goes on to say that he is, for the first time ever, coming out to be what he's never had a chance to be, which is real in himself. And he kind of wants to bare his soul to the audience and give them thanks and just and praise and adoration for how their love of who he was and the character of Bray Wyatt and all that he brings to the table has helped saved his life, especially after losing two people very close to him. One I do know probably most likely he was talking about was Brody Lee.
Hmm.
Yep.
Luke Harper, to the WWE fans that may not be familiar. I'm not exactly sure who the other one
There's another close friend. I'm not sure of his
yeah, who other
name, but
person he might have
Yeah.
been referring to. But that happened. But this is a very strange version of Bray Wyatt that I was not expecting to see this. Now, there's a few elements about this particular promo that left me scratching my head. And we're going to get into that, but I wanted to kind of lay the foundation of there's a reason why we're about to dive into this because we are the wrestling realm and we operate with superior wrestling intellect. So we're going to take this conversation a little bit further than we usually would because this is what we do. We have to give people an opportunity to look at things from a different lens, from a different perspective. But we'll start with you, Brian H.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of this very different and very distinct promo from Bray Wyatt as he made his triumphant return to WWE television on SmackDown?
So, give you my first thoughts was
Mm-hmm.
okay. He's shooting. Like you
That was
said, he's giving us
that was the
this
vibe.
real promo. We getting to see Wyndham. Um, and at first I was thinking I was gonna get more. I guess because I was expecting to get character, right? And
Sure.
the reason I was expecting to get character was because of what happened at Extreme Rules. So I thought we was just gonna continue off of that, and I would get full character.
Mm-hmm.
But then he gave me this real promo, and he's like drawing me in, and I'm starting to think about, man, like everybody been through stuff like this, and he's relatable.
Right.
Boom! Next thing you know, all the characters and stuff, the lights and all that start going crazy, and I was like,
The gimmick
oh
comes back.
yeah, and I was like, now I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what to think.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole
Mm-hmm.
time, I think he was it was like he realized like he literally has the whole world in his hands, and at any point he can say whatever he want, and we're going to eat it.
Brian H, you going somewhere, brother. Keep on going.
Yeah, like at any point, so he can be in full character.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing, like for all intents and purposes, if we didn't know what we know, he could have been lying the whole time. But it was
Listen.
so believable. Let's
You
say
going?
he was,
Mm-hmm.
because if it wasn't for the internet, right?
Sure.
Would we have known that him and like that Brody's death bothered him? We could have suspected it because they was in a faction together. But how many people been in factions together?
Sure. That's fair.
But the internet tells us that. So it's like, okay, well, I can play off of this. I can play off of that. The whole
Mm-hmm.
time, like I said, it got the whole world in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then he leaves us with a cliffhanger. And now I got to watch SmackDown.
Which he always likes to do, Brother Hugh.
Hmm.
Now, I know you saw this Bray Wyatt promo, and I'm sure you probably feel very similar to the way Brian H does.
Absolutely.
Tell me, did he leave you feeling conflicted when you saw this promo?
Absolutely.
Please tell the people why you felt conflicted, and then I'm going to chime in as soon as you're finished because there's a theme here, and I want to see if you brothers recognize the same theme. But go ahead, brother. Did you feel
I'm not.
conflicted?
I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I straight up believed everything he said. When from the first time hearing it, it's like the amount of emotion and passion that he said everything with,
Mm-hmm.
like it was very believable.
Okay.
Then of course he's cut off. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So here comes the shenanigery.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Which,
And what
which,
and what
which
I
we're very familiar with, so we know shenanigan when we see it.
absolutely, absolutely. That's one thing that my brother and I shout out to Truth, Lil
Mhm.
Shout out
Dathan,
the truth. My
right?
God.
Um, we always like to relate everything to probably the greatest movie ever, which is The Dark Knight. Um,
Okay, sure.
uh,
I see. Now you got my attention. I'm intrigued. I mean, I'm like, all right, keep
yeah.
going. I want to hear this. Go ahead.
First thing I thought about when that second part of the promo hit, when
Mm-hmm.
the guy came up on the screen and whatnot. First thing I thought it was Harvey Dent. Big Two Face vibes.
You listen to me,
This
brother.
man,
Here,
this man
you're
is
on,
this
you're
man
on
is
fire right now, man.
he's fighting himself, man. Like he's trying to give us the real Bray Wyatt because he wasn't able to do that for years
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, and he was trying to let us in on him inside of his head, his heart, his mind, his soul. But it's like there's still some sort of presence that's stopping him from 100% just letting go, letting it all out. And that's what I got from it, straight up.
So this is
Like you said, now we gotta wait for this clip. The cliffhanger was dropped, so now we gotta wait again.
this is why I do a wrestle show with you good brothers, because you guys are on fire. So there's two themes. There's two things that I can take away from what you guys pretty much have so eloquently have broken down. Is I noticed something about this, and brother Hugh, like you hit the nail right on the head when you said this two-face type character. Bray Wyatt has gone into space of duality when it comes to this new character. And you say, okay, well, realness, what do you mean by duality? Like, what are you saying? I'm saying the idea and the concept that he is struggling with two entities within one himself, you know, and in some situations there may be multiple entities, right?
Yep.
And you say, well, how do you know that? Once again, it's because I noticed something. You know, nobody noticed that red and blue light that was on his face when he was cutting his promo.
Yep.
Like literally wherever he went, one side was red, one side was blue, right? There's backstage shenanigans going on now. Like there's certain segments where you see like one side that's kind of shaded red and another side that's shaded blue, and then you see this white butterfly, whatever logo that is, everywhere, right? Or like in certain situations. And I was like, man, Bray Wyatt, I was like you, Brian H. He came out there, he said his piece, and I was like, man, he's really pouring out his soul. I said, maybe he's just emotional because it seemed like Bray Wyatt's not the type to break character.
My bad, real quick. You notice those two colors are being used a lot right now in the WWE?
That's very true, right?
Look at AJ. Look at AJ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a big one. Like whenever he's wearing the blue, he's on his face. He's in the face mode. Throwing that red, he's in heel mode.
That's very true.
Usually.
Yeah.
Usually.
That's
Wait,
very true.
red is heel
Usually.
and blue is face.
Usually, yeah.
Usually.
He's
Shout out
more
to
aggressive
Pepsi.
as red.
Yeah,
Shout out to
there's
Pepsi.
some. Yeah. Oh, look at him throwing out. Yeah, I like it though. Okay. Is it
There's
good?
this.
All that sugar.
there's this naturally there's this theme of duality, right? And I was like, man, I said Bray Wyatt must have really been going through something if he's willing to break character. And I started to believe, and they were like, well, when I got in the house, the family was like, oh, Bray Wyatt's on there crying. I'm like, what? What do you mean he's crying? And
Right.
it was like he was pouring out his soul, and he was this, and I was like, oh wow, he must really been going through it. He's like, look, man, just for one time, let me just break character today, and then next week I promise I'll. And then just that quickly, I was like, oh man, he got us again. I said, don't get me wrong, I think there was a lot of truth to his promo and his, you know, I look like to make it look like a shoot, but I think that he was as he was getting that off his chest, that's going to play into this deeper character that he's portraying. There's this space of duality that he's going into, and we don't know the conflict, but he's like, Bray Wyatt, you're dead. You have to let go of yourself. like be exactly who. And I'm just like, oh, here we go. This confused. I'm not going down these rabbit holes again. They got me the first time. I'm not going there again. But I'm definitely intrigued. But
you did a great job picking it apart, though. Shout out to the
brother,
1,000 plus people that watched it on YouTube.
you know how long that took for me to do that? We got to do that to see the 1,000 plus on YouTube. You can just forget it. Not even monetized yet. So it's like, screw that. But no, seriously, I'm like, dude, I'm not. You'll be there all day trying to break down Bray Wyatt stuff, and I was like, dude, nope, not doing it. But it seems to be like that's the thing that I'm noticing. Like, okay, cool. So now he's going to go deep into this idea of duality, of one person, two people trapped in one person. This conflict between what's inside of you on one end, and Bray Wyatt has done a good job of always battling with this idea of this possession. Right? We saw with the Fiend. You know, the Fiend was kind of haunting. The Fiend came. It was something he couldn't control. The Fiend took over whenever the Fiend wanted to. You know what I mean? And it seems like it's almost the same concept with a different twist to it. But there's a lot of rumors going on in regards to Bray Wyatt and, you know, his Wyatt 6 and all this speculation. But
I'm about to say, it seems like it's so many more levels to it now. Because does the Fiend still have that same amount of power over him?
See, that's what I'm trying to
you
say.
Know what I'm saying?
Like, and
what's going on with Alexa?
She's disappeared all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, and who is this new guy? Who is this guy in this mask? And why is he? And what effect does he have on Bray? What's his history? Like, what? How does he get in this space? Because he's not allowing Bray Wyatt to be who he feels like he wants to be.
Absolutely.
It's the idea of what happened with Heath Ledger and the Joker.
There it is.
Actors sometimes do this.
There
right?
It is.
Where they become overly consumed with the character to become the character because they don't want to act as a character. They become it. And I remember him, that man locked himself in a hotel room for 7 months with just nothing but Joker stuff. And when he left that room, he was the Joker. And I think ultimately that he never recovered from that. Honestly, I don't know if it was a haunting thing, but of course, you know, he passed away from a lethal dose of, I believe, that's sleeping medication and alcohol. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know on the record, but I know it will be tough for me to get sleep at night too if I've been haunted by just Joker to the point where I was able to play that character that well. You know what I mean? So it's just it seems to me that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from Bray Wyatt as far as this character. He's like, he is so consumed with these things that he brought in himself, and now he can't control them. And it's like different variations of that over time kind of takes its place. So it reminds me of the Matrix, the red pill and the blue pill. Right. There was a
shout out to Dylan Matthews chiming in from across the pond. He just said, is the blue side of the Bray Wyatt and the red side is the blue side Bray Smackdown, the red side Bray Raw, basically.
I mean, that is when you look at it, it's just like, man, there's a lot of things. Like I'm saying that he would though, because it's think about it. Raw and SmackDown are two sides of one coin.
You know, it's so hard to believe that he is Mike Rotunda. I was gonna say IRS, but his name came in. Mike Rotunda's son. Like, you know how like some second or third generation wrestlers, you can see the daddy resemblance. Like, look at the Usos, you know they were Kishi's boys and Solo Sikoa.
Good lord.
You cannot tell. Right, you cannot tell.
Yeah, you know, Bo Dallas, you can tell because of the look, and then you can tell Bo is related to Bray, but it's like, wow, like, yo, that's really IRS son. Like,
naked face Bray. Husky hair looked a lot like him, but you're right. Like, they're two complete different contrasts from each other. So it's like, wow, that's your kid,
right?
Yeah. So,
shout out to Justin in the house, and Raj, the Flex Zone.
Quick sidebar. I saw this on, I think it was on Twitter. But somebody posed the question: what was the greater return? Was it Bray Wyatt or CM Punk?
You can't compare.
That's not fair.
Hey, I mean, I didn't come up with the question. I'm just, you know what I mean?
He got the dudes. So listen, it wasn't me. I didn't say it.
Because it's a fun discussion.
Sure.
It's fun to talk about and it's fun to break them down. But like greater, no, Taquan, not Edge. And I used to be an Edge guy. He got kicked out of my top 10.
I'm good off.
But like, like the thing is, like, Bray, that build up was special, right? And it had us going down a rabbit hole. And then the payoff of Extreme Rules was amazing. You know,
it was a legit payoff.
That he's got the whole world.
Yeah, dude. It took that to a different level.
Yeah. Now Punk's Tony Khan couldn't help
very
himself.
real. It was very real and it was organic.
Yeah, but he couldn't. Like, if imagine if that would have been a surprise. Like, it was the worst kept secret. But imagine if he didn't go and bust it open earlier that day. Say, "Oh yeah, well, I'm not going to disappoint the fans. You're going to get what you think you're going to get." You know, just imagine.
He kind of had to though.
He had already sold out the Allstate Arena, which WWE wouldn't run because, according to the people in Chicago, it's expensive and it's like the bigger arena. You feel me? I mean, the United Center.
No, I feel you, but AEW's wrapped up in TNT and they have to make announcements about who their guys are going to be. They can't just can't do surprise drops and stuff like that anymore. So,
and that's the thing. Like, so he didn't say it, but he said it, and so we all knew to tune in.
We knew.
So, yeah, yeah. Like I ain't gonna tell y'all why he said this, but like the real Dwayne Allen said, "Come on now, let's not kid ourselves. It's Cody, and he know what I'm talking about." He probably don't. This is what happens when you have a brother that like you always exchanging information, always getting advice from. That to the point they forget they give you advice.
Golly, man, this man Brian don't forget nothing.
I don't.
He's got a good memory. I'll take
it's
that.
A gift
away from brother.
and a curse. Trust me. Shout out to brother Brandon dropping in. It's a gift and a curse. Trust me, because sometimes, boy, I don't want to remember. But but yeah, like with Punk, it would have been more special. But like you said, the TV deals and all that. But Bray was like, we kind of knew we would have been disappointed if it wasn't him. But I think, to me,
Punk
I like Punk's return, but I think I'm gonna like Bray's payoff. That's the way I think it's gonna go down.
Yeah, it's in two categories because like I was happy for seeing Punk. That reaction was like he needed that. And forget, I don't have no personal issues with CM Punk. So I have no reason to be like, well, CM Punk did this. I don't like when you look at a human being and you see that the look on his face and the love that he felt that night. I'm like, well, I'm glad he had a chance to have that moment. But Bray Wyatt was pro wrestling based. You know what I mean? Like one was a happy to see you, the other one was like. It's one thing for an individual to return, but it's different for a character to return.
This show wasn't born for the weak.